The moment I walked into that seminar, I should have turned around and left. But there he was, Alex, my first love from college, looking just as charming as he did years ago. My wedding band felt heavier, a stark reminder of the life I had built with David, my husband, who was at home probably fixing someone's computer issues or gaming with his online buddies. "Hey, Maria," Alex greeted, his smile as disarming as ever. I felt that old familiar spark ignite, a feeling I thought I had buried deep beneath years of marital routine and shared Netflix accounts. We talked, laughed, and it was as if no time had passed. But time had passed, and I was no longer just Maria, but David's wife. One evening, after the seminar had wrapped up and the after-party was in full swing, Alex and I found ourselves alone, tucked away in a dimly lit corner of the hotel bar. The air between us was charged with an electricity that felt both thrilling and dangerous. One drink, I told myself, ignoring the warning bells in my head. One drink turned into several, and before I knew it, Alex's lips were on mine. The guilt hit me like a wave the moment we parted, a stark reminder of the betrayal I had just committed. "This was a mistake," I whispered, a promise to myself that it was a one-time slip. But promises, much like glass once shattered, are hard to piece back together. The one-time slip spiraled into several months of secret rendezvous. I was leading a double life, juggling my role as a loving wife to David with the exhilaration and guilt of my affair with Alex. It was a balancing act that left me exhausted and torn. Then came the close call. David, ever so trusting, stumbled upon a message from Alex on my phone. "Who's Alex?" he asked, a simple question loaded with suspicion. "Just a new client who needs legal advice," I lied smoothly, hating how easily the deception rolled off my tongue. David believed me, his trust in me as unwavering as ever, and I felt a pang of shame for abusing it. Realization dawned on me like a cold shower. The risk of losing everything I cherished was too high a price to pay for fleeting moments of passion. I ended things with Alex, deleting his number and blocking him on all social media platforms. "It's over," I told myself, trying to forget the memories, the laughter, and the intimacy we shared. Our vacation in Italy was supposed to be a fresh start, an attempt to rekindle the romance between David and me. Yet, amidst the picturesque landscapes and romantic ambience, I found myself succumbing to temptation once again. Luca, a charming stranger with a captivating smile, became the focus of a night filled with thrill and self-loathing. I returned to David's side, the guilt of my actions a heavy weight on my conscience. Back home, I vowed to be the perfect wife, overcompensating for my indiscretions with affection and attention. I cooked David's favorite meals, listened to his work stories with genuine interest, and planned date nights, all in an effort to bury my guilt under layers of feigned normalcy. But guilt, much like a shadow, is a constant companion, and no amount of light can fully dispel its presence. The minute David suggested we try new hobbies together, I knew it was his way of bridging the gap that had grown between us. So, when I signed up for those fitness classes, it was with the intention of mending, not tearing further. But that was before I met Leo, the instructor whose charisma was as potent as any physical attraction I'd ever felt. "Push a little harder, you've got this," Leo encouraged, his hand lightly touching my back, sending an unexpected jolt through me. It was a touch meant to motivate, but it awakened something else within me. Leo's attention, his lingering glances, they made me feel desired in a way I hadn't in years. We fell into a passionate affair with the kind of recklessness that accompanies the forbidden. Sneaking around during lunch breaks and after work became our norm, each stolen moment feeling more thrilling than the last. "You're playing with fire, Jenna," my closest friend, warned after catching me daydreaming for the umpteenth time. Her concern was evident, but I brushed it off with a laugh that didn't quite reach my eyes. "It's just a bit of fun," I lied, both to her and myself. David's suspicion grew with every late return from the gym and every evasive answer I gave. "Working late again?" he'd asked, his voice tinged with doubt. I could tell he didn't believe me, but I wasn't ready to face the truth myself. The day he found the hotel receipt in my purse, I saw the trust we'd built crumble in his eyes. "It was for an office retreat," I stammered, a lie so flimsy it might as well have been transparent. David's gaze was piercing, searching for the wife he thought he knew. His next move was silent but devastating. A GPS tracker in my car, an invisible chaperone documenting my deceit. I continued to meet Leo, blissfully unaware of the net closing around us. It wasn't love, but the escape from reality he offered was intoxicating. The inevitable came when a colleague, a mutual friend of David and me, saw me with Leo. Bound by a sense of loyalty to David, he told him everything. The confrontation that followed was unlike anything I'd imagined. David, armed with undeniable evidence, his face a mask of betrayal and hurt, shattered the last vestiges of our marriage. The chapter of my life that I'd so carelessly rewritten was coming to a close, not with the promise of a new beginning, but with the stark realization of what I'd lost. David's trust, once my sanctuary, now lay in ruins, a casualty of choices I couldn't take back. The moment David walked through the door, evidence in hand, my heart sank into an abyss from which I knew there'd be no return. "I want a divorce," he said, his voice a cold blade slicing through the last thread of hope I clung to. His eyes, once filled with love, now bore into me with a heartbreak and rage that silenced any plea for forgiveness I might have mustered. I tried, though. God, how I tried. "David, please, let me explain," I begged, reaching for him, only to be met with a step back, his gesture a clear boundary I could no longer cross. My apologies, my tears, they meant nothing. The man I loved, the man I had vowed to spend my life with, was gone, replaced by a stranger wearing David's face, his heart hardened by my betrayal. The divorce was swift, a blur of legal formalities that stripped me of not just my marriage but everything we had built together. David, fueled by a vindictiveness I had never seen in him, made sure I left with nothing but the clothes on my back and a few personal belongings. I was cast out, not just from our home, but from the life I knew. As if the personal devastation wasn't enough, the news of our divorce and my affair spread like wildfire, a sensational story for our small community and beyond. Friends who I thought would stand by me turned their backs, their silence a loud testament to their judgment. Colleagues, with whom I had shared countless lunches and coffee breaks, now whispered as I passed, their looks of pity and disdain a constant reminder of the ruin I had brought upon myself. Leo, the man for whom I had risked everything, turned out to be nothing more than a fleeting adventure. This was never meant to be anything serious. "Maria," he said, his words the final nail in the coffin of my hopes for solace. He walked away, leaving me to pick up the pieces of a life I had shattered with my own hands. Now, living in a small, dingy apartment, I found myself in isolation, a pariah in a world I once belonged to. My social circle, once vibrant and full, had evaporated, leaving me to face the long days and even longer nights alone. My reputation, once that of a respected paralegal and loving wife, was now tarnished beyond recognition. In a desperate attempt to find some semblance of the connection I have so carelessly thrown away, I reached out to Alex and Luca, hoping for understanding, maybe even forgiveness. But all I was met with was rejection and indifference. "I'm sorry, Maria, but I can't," Alex said, his voice void of the warmth it once held. Luca, ever the stranger, simply didn't respond. Each day became a battle, a struggle to find meaning in the chaos I had created. The guilt, the loneliness, the sheer weight of my actions bore down on me, a constant companion in my newfound solitude. I had lost everything in pursuit of something I couldn't even name, and now, I was left to face the consequences alone. The guilt was a constant, gnawing presence, eating away at me from the inside out. It followed me everywhere, a shadow I couldn't shake off. So, I made a decision, one of the few I hadn't regretted recently. I started going to therapy. Sitting on that cliché copyright couch, I spilled out the mess of my life, hoping, somehow, to cleanse my soul and find a path to self-forgiveness. Work, once a refuge, became another battleground. My performance plummeted, my focus, shattered by the turmoil of my personal life, couldn't hold. My boss, who had always been supportive, pulled me aside one afternoon. "Maria, I've noticed you've been off your game, is everything all right?" he asked, concern etched on his face. I nodded, a lie ready on my lips, but the truth spilled out instead. "I'm struggling," I admitted, the weight of those words feeling both liberating and terrifying. He warned me of potential dismissal, a reality check that I couldn't afford to ignore. Loneliness became my only constant companion, a bitter reminder of the consequences of my actions. In a desperate attempt for some semblance of connection, I adopted a cat. Whiskers, with her soft purrs and indifferent affection, offered a small solace in my sea of solitude. It was a comfort, albeit small, in the silent presence of another living being. The journey of self-reflection is a long and often painful one. As I delved deeper into my psyche, with my therapist's guidance, I confronted the harsh truth. The pain I caused wasn't just inflicted on David, it was a wound I had also inflicted on myself. Acknowledging that was a crucial step in my path toward healing. Eager to find redemption, I started volunteering at local charities. Helping others became a balm for my guilt-ridden soul. Each act of kindness, every grateful smile, felt like a step away from the person I used to be and a step closer to someone better. But the road was lonely. The fallout from my affair had left its mark, making it difficult to form new relationships. People were polite, but the warmth I longed for was missing. My past was a barrier I couldn't seem to cross. Then came the letter from David. My heart leapt at the sight of his handwriting, a mixture of hope and dread filling me. But the words within were not of forgiveness or reconciliation. It was a final goodbye, a closure he needed, and perhaps, deep down, so did I. The letter was a poignant reminder of all that was lost, a love that once was but would never be again. The chapter of our lives together was closed, permanently, by the very hand that once vowed to hold mine through thick and thin. The finality of it was a sobering reminder of the consequences of my choices. Yet, it also marked the beginning of a new chapter, one where I could hopefully rebuild from the ruins of my past, a journey of redemption and self-discovery. The night before my move, I couldn't sleep. My past, a tangled web of lies and betrayal, played on a loop in my mind. The weight of what I had done, the innocence I had corrupted, and the love I had shattered felt suffocating. I need to leave, I whispered into the darkness, a vow to myself to seek redemption, to start anew away from the ghosts that haunted me. Dawn broke, bringing with it a sense of urgency. I packed the last of my belongings into my car, the compact space a stark reminder of how much I had lost. The drive to the new city was a blur, each mile a step further from my old life, each turn a twist away from the person I used to be. The new city, with its bustling streets and unfamiliar faces, was both a promise and a challenge. I hit the ground running, determined to rebuild my life from the ground up. But finding employment proved to be a hurdle I hadn't fully anticipated. My scandal, like a shadow, followed me, whispered doubts filling the ears of potential employers. "We'll be in touch," they'd say, a polite dismissal that left me feeling despondent. Eventually, a small law firm took a chance on me. The relief I felt was palpable, a tangible sign that perhaps I could turn things around. "We believe in second chances," the senior partner said, a statement that felt like a lifeline. I poured myself into my work, grateful for the opportunity to prove that I was more than my mistakes. Starting over wasn't just about finding a new job or moving to a new city, it was about redefining who I was. I vowed to live a life of honesty and integrity, lessons learned from the pain I had caused. It was a promise not just to myself but to those I had hurt, a silent plea for forgiveness I knew I might never receive. Reaching out to mutual friends of David and me was like walking a tightrope. The responses varied, some forgiving, offering tentative olive branches, while others were not ready to forget the past. Each interaction was a reminder of the bridges I had burned and the long road to reconciliation that lay ahead, should it ever come. In the midst of my attempts to rebuild, I found solace in writing. I started a blog, sharing my story anonymously. It was a cathartic release, a way to confront my demons and, hopefully, help others avoid the pitfalls that had ensnared me. If my story can prevent even one person from making the mistakes I did, then sharing it will have been worth it, I reasoned. Each word typed a step towards healing. This chapter of my life, unlike any before it, was marked by a stark honesty and a relentless pursuit of redemption. It was a journey fraught with challenges, but also filled with small victories, each one a testament to the strength it takes to start over. The road ahead was uncertain, but for the first time in a long time, I felt a glimmer of hope that maybe, just maybe, I could forge a path forward, one step at a time. The night I hit publish, on my latest blog post, my heart raced with a mix of fear and liberation. Sharing my story, raw and unfiltered, felt like shedding a skin, leaving my vulnerabilities exposed to the world. To my surprise, the response was overwhelming. Comments poured in, not with judgment, but with empathy and understanding. I had found a community, a virtual embrace from strangers who appreciated my honesty and vulnerability. It was a small beacon of light in the otherwise dark expanse of my journey. Yet, when the screen dimmed and the world outside my window fell silent, the loneliness crept back in. Nights were the hardest. Guilt and regret were my constant companions, whispering reminders of what I had lost. I tossed and turned, replaying my mistakes, wondering how different things might have been if I had chosen differently. Therapy sessions became my lifeline, a space where I could unravel the knots of my past actions. Understanding the roots of your actions is the first step towards healing, my therapist would say, her voice a calm in the storm of my emotions. It was in these sessions that I learned the importance of self-improvement and forgiveness, not just of others, but of myself. To quiet my mind and escape the whispers of the night, I took up running. The rhythmic pounding of my feet against the pavement, the steady breaths filling my lungs, became a meditation. With each run, the weight on my shoulders felt lighter, the path ahead clearer. It was on one of these runs that I met Ella. Our conversations began with hesitant smiles and brief exchanges about the weather. But as the miles and days passed, a friendship blossomed. Ella, with her easy laugh and open heart, became a bridge to a world I thought I had lost forever. She was my first step towards social recovery, a reminder that not all was lost. The day I stumbled upon David's engagement announcement on social media, my heart stopped. There, smiling back at me from the screen, was the life I had once been a part of. The pain was sharp, a bitter reminder of the consequences of my actions. Yet, amidst the hurt, there was also a flicker of hope, for David, for his future happiness, and for my own journey forward. Emboldened by the support of my online community and the budding friendship with Ella, I threw myself into local community projects. Planting trees, organizing charity events, and participating in neighborhood cleanups, I found purpose. The respect I earned was modest but meaningful. Each small nod of recognition a step away from my past. Not everyone was welcoming, however. Whispers and sideways glances followed me in some circles, a backlash from those who couldn't see beyond the mistakes I had made. Their judgment stung, but it also steeled my resolve. Change is hard, and forgiveness even harder. I reminded myself, determined to prove through actions, not just words, that people could change. This chapter of my life was a mosaic of highs and lows, of setbacks and small victories. Each day brought its own challenges, but also opportunities for growth and redemption. My journey was far from over, but with each step forward, I was slowly but surely reshaping my story into one of resilience, hope, and a deepened understanding of the human capacity for change. The day I stood before my community, accepting the service award, my emotions were a tangled mess. Pride, for the recognition of my efforts to make amends. Sorrow, for the path that had led me here, and a poignant reminder of the bittersweet journey of redemption I was on. This award isn't just for me, I said, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. It's for everyone who believes in second chances. My blog, once a personal diary of my darkest moments, had blossomed into a sanctuary for those wrestling with their own demons of guilt and betrayal. I poured my heart into every post, every piece of advice, hoping to light the way for others as lost as I had been. "You're not alone," became my mantra, a bridge of words spanning the gap between despair and hope. Despite the strides I had made, the quiet moments were a stark reminder that some wounds were too deep to ever fully heal. I learned to live with my regrets, accepting them as part of who I was, a mosaic of my mistakes and my efforts to right them. The realization was sobering, yet it brought a certain peace, an acceptance of my flawed humanity. Ella, my unexpected anchor, stood by me through it all. Our friendship, forged in the fires of my lowest points, had grown into an unbreakable bond. She was a constant reminder that forgiveness was possible, that the heart could open again even after being closed off by betrayal. "I'm proud of you," she'd say, her support unwavering, a beacon in my moments of doubt. The anniversary of my divorce was a day of introspection. I reflected on the tumultuous journey, the pain I had caused, and the strides I had made towards becoming a better person. The scars remained, etched into the fabric of my being, but they no longer defined me. I had grown, transformed by the lessons of my past, ready to face the future with a newfound resilience. Forgiving myself was the hardest battle I fought. It came slowly, a gradual release of the burden I had carried. Understanding that I couldn't change the past, but could shape my future, was a revelation. I vowed to live each day with purpose, to make amends through actions rather than words, to be the change I wished to see. Standing at the crossroads of my life, I looked back at the path I had traversed, marked by the footprints of my journey. Ahead lay uncharted territory, a future I was now ready to embrace, not as the woman I once was, but as the person I have become. I was forever marked by the choices of my past, living with the knowledge of